For today's video, we are going to make French toast. To make French toast, we're going to need a few pieces of equipment. We have a liquid measuring cup for the milk. We have custard cups to crack our eggs into, and also for our vanilla and cinnamon. We need measuring spoons for the vanilla and the cinnamon, a fork to beat the ingredients together, and then we need the griddle. We're going to use that to prepare the French toast on, and we're going to use a turner. And I'll explain the difference between the two turners when we get closer to that part of the recipe. The ingredients we'll need for our French toast are fairly simple. We'll need some bread, we'll need eggs and milk. This recipe is enhanced by the addition of vanilla and cinnamon in the egg wash. We're going to need some cooking spray to keep it from sticking to our griddle as we cook. And then we have an assortment of ideas for toppings. We can go as simple as butter and syrup, butter and powdered sugar, and then we have an indulgent option that my family enjoys sometimes with a can of strawberry pie filling warmed up and a little bit of whipped cream on top. So for the first step in our French toast, we're going to crack 4 eggs for our egg wash mixture that we'll dip the bread into. And then we're going to transfer those to our cake pan. You could transfer them to a bowl, but I'm a big fan of Save a Dish. And I'm going to use a mixture of brown eggs and white eggs because the color of the shell does not make a difference in the nutrition of the egg. It's simply a different breed of chicken that the egg came from. Now the reason I always crack my eggs into a custard cup is twofold. One, if any shell were to get in with the egg, it's a lot easier to clean it out, to get it back out of a small custard cup, small area. 2, and particularly important for the eggs that I'm using today, is that if there's any problem with the eggs, I'm using farm fresh eggs today, if there's any problem with the egg, I would only have to throw out 1 egg instead of all 4. So I always crack the eggs into a custard cup. So I'm going to measure 1 cup of milk. And I always want to make sure I check my liquids at eye level. And we'll talk more in detail about measuring in a later video. So now I can go ahead and add that. And then I also need a ½ teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to measure that over a custard cup so that it catches any mess. Never measure over your ingredients that you're mixing together. And then lastly, I need a ¼ teaspoon of cinnamon. And I have a big box here. I'm gonna just level that off with a straight edge spatula so I have exactly a ¼ teaspoon. I'm going to kind of sprinkle this all over to help it mix in a little bit better. So then I'm simply going to take a fork and beat these ingredients together. Now, we are going to cook on a griddle today, which is this nice big flat surface. It allows me to cook several pieces of French toast all at once. Set that aside. I don't want to turn, if I didn't have a griddle, a skillet would be a great option. Most people have a skillet in their home. And I'm going to, before I turn it on, I'm going to coat it with cooking spray. But you only want to do that about a minute before you turn it on because you don't want to burn the cooking spray. It does not have a good smell and it does not add a good flavor. So I also want to discuss the type of turner you're going to use. So we're going to use these to turn our bread over so that we cook the French toast on both sides. And I have a plastic or silicone turner and I have a metal turner. This surface, because it's non-stick, should never have a metal turner on it. It will ruin any pan or griddle. So we're always going to stick with plastic or silicone turners when we're working with non-stick surfaces. So the easiest way to tell if your griddle is hot and ready to go is to flick a little cold water on it. The best way, like I said, to test your griddle is to sprinkle a little water, clean water on. When you hear that sizzle, that tells you that your griddle's ready to cook. So we're going to simply dip our bread in our egg wash, and we're going to make sure we coat both sides, and then we're going to move it onto the griddle. And so you can see the griddle's nice because it's going to hold several slices of bread. Most skillets would be done at 2, maybe 3. But I want to talk about the kinds of bread. So this is just regular cheap white bread, makes great French toast. You want to get a little extravagant. This is a plain Texas toast found in the same aisle. Really not much more in price, but makes a really nice, fluffy, indulgent piece of French toast. And then at my house sometimes we will even take leftover hamburger or hot dog buns and make French toast out of those if they don't have another purpose. So if we just bought ahead, had too many. So really you can use almost anything. You can get a bakery bread and slice it. A lot of options. It's a great way to use up day-old bread. So each of our pieces need about 2 to 3 minutes on one side. And then we're going to flip them. And again, I just want to emphasize it's really important that you stick with that plastic or silicone turner, because a metal turner is going to mess up your non-stick surface. Just need to get under there, flip it. 2 to 3 minutes on this side. That one's not quite ready to go. 2 to 3 minutes on each side. And they'll be ready to serve. All right, so here you see 3 different ways that you could serve your French toast. There's the simple and classic syrup with butter, powdered sugar with a little bit of butter to help hold it on your toast, and if you want to get really indulgent, we have the strawberry pie filling with whipped cream. So I hope this encourages you to try out making French toast at home and try something different for your toppings.